Hi, y'all. It's Brigitte. Thank you for listening to Real Things Living. Today, my guest is Julie. She is the owner of McNaughton and Gunn, a book printer based in Michigan. Julie, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, Bridget, and hi, viewers and listeners. My name is Julie. I'm president and CEO of McNaughton and Gunn. We're a privately held, family-owned manufacturer in Saline, Michigan, and we produce books. So we're a printer.
Right, and it's something that I think the main reason we're on this call is to talk about how COVID-19 has affected businesses in different ways. And in the beginning, nobody was sure how it was going to affect printing, right? And it's really part of the communication supply chain, right? So I'm sure every state is different and every business is different. So what did you have to do on you and your team to ensure everything was going to be okay?
So we've taken a lot of steps. It seems like we've been at this for a long time, but I guess it really hasn't been that long. So we looked at how we played out in the critical manufacturers. Michigan issued a stay-at-home order back in March, and so it was sort of confusing because under the Michigan order, we probably shouldn't have stayed open, but we had customers that were deemed part of the essential supply chain because they did publications for education, they did publications for nursing and for medical, and so they really needed us to be available to produce product for them so that they can get it out in the time of need. So it was sort of unclear at the beginning because every state deemed different businesses essential. So we worked with the printing trade group who was lobbying and has since gotten print a part of the federal critical supply chain. So in the beginning it was hard because you don't want to, as an employer, you don't want to do anything that puts the lives of your employees in danger, but at the same time you want to make sure that you can provide for your customers and for your employees in the long run. So it was a difficult decision those first few days.
I know it was very confusing, like you said, for me as well. I'm like, my clients, I've been in the publishing and the book printing business for a really long time too. That's one thing we have in common. We love books, right? And
Absolutely.
I didn't know my business relies on what they need help with, for me. And I had projects happening, but it scared the heck out of me because when you heard that printers are going to have to shut down, I'm like, I have projects that are in, that were live, and is that the right word, live? And
Yep.
it is, what you do is a little bit different than me. I'm an independent contractor when you have employees, so I'm sure it probably was a lot scarier for you. And I think you guys, had the right support, like you said, from the printing industry to get the federal involved. That I think every industry, they did their, the best they could. And right, and today is March 27th. I'm sorry, May, what date it is, May 27th. And this has been going on in my county. We had to do shelter in place starting, I laugh about it, on Friday the 13th in March.
That's when we did too.
Right. And so our county, I live in the Metro Atlanta area. We had that shelter in place before the state of Georgia did. And I guess it just depends on who is at more at risk, I guess, because we live close to Metro Atlanta, and I think the city of Atlanta, everybody is different. And I think it's good. You sent me a video to view, which I think is really cool, on the stuff that you guys have implemented for your employees to be safe. I think some of them probably have to be able to work at home, right? And some you have to have the people who work in the plant come in.
Right. Anybody in manufacturing that work at home wasn't an option. So we did allow people that could to work at home, but people in manufacturing, we had to figure out, okay, what's the best way to keep them safe? And the number one was, we said to them, is if you don't feel safe coming into work, you don't have to come in.
That's good.
And we did people that chose not to come in because they didn't feel safe or their families didn't feel safe. So we did give everybody that choice. And then it was sort of COVID, it became my job to figure out what's the best practices, what's the CDC recommending, what's the state recommending, what's OSHA recommending, what's the county recommending. So trying to keep up with all that, I was just webinar after webinar after webinar trying to figure out what should we be doing.
Well, luckily, I guess the trucking companies, did that affect you in any way too? Because I know they were having to deliver like supplies to retail environments and stores. I don't think that affected you, right?
Well, the only thing that really impacted us was Amazon. Amazon's a big delivery and for publishers, and they went, and rightly so, they were delivering necessary supplies, so that became priority. So books sort of went down on the list,
right?
And that did impact a lot of our customers.
Right, and but what's good about books though is it's something you can do at home, right? You don't have to. It's just still bizarre that we're going through this, and we don't know about the future. But I think this is a good chance for us to adapt, to do something different, maybe on how we run our businesses. Maybe I still think my positive aspect, books are not going anywhere.
We don't think so. They said when the ebooks originally came out, they said print books will be gone in 5 years. And most of our customers, they're doing ebooks, they're doing audiobooks, but they're getting the majority of their revenue still from print. And the amount of time we all spend on our screens, we need a break from those screens.
Right.
And I think that.
My brain, I absorb, I don't know, I like to hold a book in I don't know, I just get the information a little bit better. And the same with a magazine. But yeah, books aren't, and I agree with you. At one point when ebooks first came out, they kind of increased a lot, but then it has died the last couple of years because people are tired of, what is it, screen fatigue, or I don't know what the proper term is. They kind of have gotten that. And I think maybe audiobooks have become popular because people can use that as a way to walk and listen to a book.
Right.
And they don't have to focus on, but I still don't get into audiobooks, even though I have an audiobook of my own that I did, but it's cool. Some people like to, but I only did it so those that want an audiobook can listen to my audiobook. And the reason I started this podcast, by the way, you might not know this, you helped me on my 2 books. And I got feedback and did some podcast interviews on my second book. And I'm like, I need to do something, try to get more information out there and have other people tell their stories. And every day is a little different. And it really is about to provide inspiration. And I think you, Julie, what you're doing is really good for, your employees. You're providing them some inspiration, and you showed up, right? And you got to adapt. And that's kind of how, right, business leaders, you got to adapt and be there.
Right. And it was just so much more rapid than what we were used to. The new regulations kept, they'd come out and you needed to get them in within 24 hours, or, the new benefits, and you needed to figure out, okay, it's on the news, and your employees are asking, okay, how does that impact us? So you're trying to figure out all the bits and pieces of all the regulations and the benefits and doing it right so that you're giving people the correct information.
Right. They need to, they're looking to you for some inspiration. There's just something that you do to help keep yourself sane a little bit. Like I go walking outside. Thank goodness I'm able to do that. Is there anything that you do to keep your mind focused?
I work out every day. Awesome. And then I do walk at night. And then one of my goals for this year pre-COVID was to experiment with yoga. So I've been trying that through YouTube to relax me. So. Right,
but that's good. That's something we both have in common. I've been doing more yoga because I am a runner, and running has a different kind of impact on your body, and yoga is kind of like the yin and yang. And it's very relaxing, and it depends on the poses, I guess. But is there a certain YouTube channel you look at, or?
Well, I've been just trying different ones. I'm at the beginner level, so some of those ones standing upside.
That's fine. there's a lot of good sources out there. And that was one thing I was doing as well. I couldn't go to the gym, the YMCA anymore, because that was something I did on days that I wasn't running or hiking. And I can't go do the yoga class or the, so like you, so I just got a book and I have been reading more about it. And because I'm like, see, I'm buying books, right? But
Yeah.
physical books. And then there's, like you said, the video is helpful. And is there anything, I guess at some point, can you guys have everybody back in at the same time? Have any kind of like, I shouldn't say a party, but do you have any get-togethers at all with your workers?
We typically do a lot of celebrations and meetings and that kind of stuff, and we can't do any of that right now because we're still supposed to keep gatherings less than 10 people. So we've been using teleconference, and then out in the plant we just do smaller meetings, so fewer people, to try and keep the communication going. And then I started doing a daily email, just trying to get information out there because there's so much to communicate right now.
Right, and it's it is confusing, and that's probably why they're looking to you for help and just to motivation and inspiration, like I mentioned before. And the video that you had sent me, is that strictly just for your employees or for your clients to see as well, which are doing?
We just completed that, and we had a gentleman on staff that had those capabilities of how to produce it. So that was made by our team here, and released it to our employees today. And then we're also going to release it so our customers can see the steps that we're taking.
That's good.
A lot that has changed, and it's going to stay in place for a while. I mean, this isn't going away anytime soon. So we
right.
looking for new ideas and asking our team to tell us if they see something at another company that might work for us.
Well, yeah, I noticed that you had the plexiglass. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
And because I've been in many, many, many book plants before, and I was like, whoa, I never, because I was wondering about that, because you've got some of the pieces of the equipment, you have to be close to each other, especially
right.
the bindery area
right.
is where it's going to be close proximity. But I think it's a really good idea, and it's and it's also a reminder, a subconscious reminder to try to stay, do the proper distancing thing. And some people are against all this kind of stuff, right? But to me, it's whatever. We all have our things, but I wear a mask when I go to the store or whatever, but I don't wear a mask when I'm running because I can't. Some people are like chastising other people who are running without masks. Well, I can't breathe,
Right.
And plus I'm on a trail, but I think it's okay if you are 6 feet apart, but to me, it's more likely to spread from my understanding, when you're inside.
That's right. So we know we've changed a lot of things, increased ventilation, and we've propped open doors, and people are wearing masks if they can't stay 6 feet apart. And then the plexiglass in areas where people can't social distance. I think the difficulty is going to be keeping it an urgency as it lingers on.
Right.
Again, we don't know when this is going to end.
Correct. And it has a lot to do with the end consumer, really, if you think about it, right?
Right.
That's really what it is. And that's kind of why I'm like, but I think books, people want as an escape, right? And I should call it an escape, but it just helps you learn. It just helps you, I don't know. I think we're in the right business, to be honest with you, long term.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we are, which is a good thing. And I just hope that people respect, like you said, every state's different, every company is different, and we just need to respect the decisions that people are making. And you had mentioned, I think earlier, that some of your employees are be able to work at home. What about the plant workers that have like someone at home who's sick, like a autoimmune disease or something like that? My niece has that. And so I haven't been able to see her under all this stuff because we don't want to get her sick.
Right. So that's when we're working with all of our team members we screen everybody coming into the plant. We screen our employees. We've eliminated most visitors, but if somebody has to come in and work on a machine or something like that, then there's a screening process for that. And then we have a whole process. Fortunately, we haven't had anybody diagnosed with the virus at this point.
That's good.
There's a whole set of protocol if that happens. So
right. So that's good. Otherwise, that could affect your facility if someone had it. And that's what I was worried about. My people that I know, I haven't known anybody that's got it yet. Which is good, I guess. But most of us are staying at home, and we talk about everybody having to do these meetings online like this. It's good to see our faces, but it's still really the same. Because I'm one of those people, I like to shake hands and hug, and I'm going to probably have to change mine. It's kind of, weird how that's going to affect long term. And I don't know about Michigan, but I think here in some of the counties in our state of Georgia, kids, when they go back to school, they're going to have to wear masks. And that's going to be interesting. Elementary kids, I think.
I can't even imagine. It's hard enough to keep it on when you're an adult. I don't know what they're...
And to talk, and I just think, to me, I'm one of those people, I can tell, or communications can see by your face and your eyes. So at least the kids can talk with their eyes. And I had like a checkup last week with my doctor. We could hardly talk to each other because we both had a mask on. Right. And I wanted to cheat and pull it down, but I'm still going to do like my annual checkups. But the medical community is definitely more at risk.
Absolutely.
But I still think it's important to do that. And I don't know about where you are. They have a lot of people aren't showing up and going to the doctors. They're so afraid to get their checkups.
They've just reopened that up. So this week, where dental offices can open up, and medical and all that. So hopefully, because we've seen a downturn even in critical services where people are having maybe a stroke or a heart attack. They're afraid to go to the hospitals because they don't want to be exposed. And so there's been this big campaign about it's okay, it's safe, we'll keep you distant from the other people. And so hopefully people will get the help that they need.
Right, and that's another reason why it's going to be okay. That's what I'd like to tell people. It will be. That's just, I don't want to, I wear a mask, like I said, in a store only because I don't want, what if I have it? I don't know. And I have two young sons, well, not young, they're young adults, and they're around more people than me, right? But they are being respectful, and, they do the washing their hands and stuff like that. But I just want to make sure everybody goes to see a doctor, like you said, critical care stuff. It was amazing that nobody they're not going to the doctors for the checkups. And I decided to keep mine, which I had made, like a year ago. I haven't, I went to the dentist before all this stuff happened, thankfully. Right. So the dentist, to me, they're exposed to a lot more than other kind of doctors because they're looking in your mouth.
Right. My dentist just sent out a big long list of all the protocol that they are taking to keep everybody safe. So
right, and it is.
All businesses are just need to make it work for their business and to keep people safe.
And people don't realize, like, a dentist is super critical. Everything they don't realize how important that is as well. But at the same time, they had to protect everybody to try to figure out what is happening. And so then I live in Atlanta where the CDC is here, right? So I don't live near the CDC, but so I get a lot of information about what's happening. I read about it a lot. And so I have faith, that's just my nature, that things will be okay. Long distance. I don't even know what I'm saying half the time. I feel like I've gotten pretty lazy because my new normal, I feel like I'm kind of been on vacation, but I haven't been.
They were saying with all these meetings with people at home that they're a lot more casual than they were before because people's kids wander in or their dog wanders in or So
Right.
it's brought down the
I kept
level.
my dogs upstairs, so otherwise I had two Great Pyrenees. They'd be barking at us. I mean, or who knows? You know, I don't know if you're familiar with Great Pyrenees. They bark at a leaf moving. So, so I made sure they weren't. I've had them interrupt me before, and like, here's a phone call. I forgot to undo my my phone. But it is just so crazy of what we're dealing with, and I do appreciate you taking the time because we need people like you to to inspire and go through, like you said, there's so much information and different stuff out there, and just like you said, just to support your employees. And I think is what is needed. And and you might have to adjust again next month, right? You just don't know.
That's right. Well, it seems like a daily event. Something else comes up, and you just
right, and
adjust and go on. That's all you can.
Right, you just have to be there and that's really good in the long term. We'll learn something from this. And to me, I've learned that we do work better together as a team, right? Rather than just being independent all the time. Even though, quote, I'm an independent contractor, I'm part of some of my clients. I'm like almost their, I am part of their team.
Absolutely.
But it helps me. That's what I've missed, even though I don't have to go to an office every day. I miss going to my customers' offices and being there in person. So it's all good, and I appreciate the help.
Eventually, it can take a little time.
It'll be good. And like my husband, he's an IT person, so those kind of people are very busy. He's an engineer, so they have to he's just like implement new systems, so they've been busy. So this has been a kind of good time for some of their customers to put in stuff right when they're not super busy. And at the same time, you probably I don't know if you've read this, when all this started happening, when people work at home, these virtual private networks were crashing because they're not, the system wasn't used to so many people working at home. It wasn't the internet itself, but it's the the virtual ones that for the private networks, they were crashing. So they had to call my husband to help with some of their clients. They were just not used to so many people being on at the same time. And he's very patient, thankfully. I couldn't do what he does.
And we see that with our team working at home, because their kids are trying to do online schooling and they're trying to do business stuff, and your spouse is trying to do something else.
Right.
So
I'm just
a lot of power.
I appreciate those parents who are doing that, because I did it a long time ago, but not under a pandemic, right? I've always been able to work from home, and I did it because I had younger kids and I was having to travel, and I told my manager, I'm like, why do I need to come to an office if I'm on the road so much? And they're like, you're right. So I started doing that. And so I think the heroes really to me are like the parents who are having to work with young children.
Yeah.
And it is a hero. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but like my sister has it really, she's a teacher, right? Plus she's got kids at home. So she's right. So that is a little different than what I've had to deal with. And I support the family. Her son just graduated high school. So he's come over a couple of times to to get out of the house a little bit, because this is what's also sad too, people that just graduate, the job opportunities, a lot of them, it'll come eventually, but that's what's kind of scary. And so I have one more question for you. Would you call this a pandemic, or would you call it, I'm not sure, pandemic sounds too, I don't know, is that the right word?
That's what they're calling a health crisis. But we're all learning together, like you said, and we're all trying to make the best decisions that we can, and that's what we've got to do.
Right, and I do think I think it's more of a health crisis, and it also wakes us up to what do we need to do better to take care of ourselves, maybe. I think that's another perspective, and that's something I've always tried to inspire people to do. Well, again, Julie, I thank you so much for your time. And you guys, you can check out McNaughton and Gunn website. I'll put that in the summary. And thanks again for listening, everybody.